All right. Here we go. We are 8 days away from the beginning of the regular season. And today, we are proud to give you part one of our two-part special, Are You Ready for Some Football? That's the name of our special. Just like that. I want that to be clipped. That's what I want. But we got so much stuff coming at you in these next two episodes, with the second episode leading up to the first game of the year between the Dallas Cowboys and the defending Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Bucks, featured with 7-time world champion Thomas Brady, a.k.a. the GOAT. Well, what do we got on tap for you today, folks? Before we get there, we got the Cam Newton news of the year before a game was even played. He was cut. We're going to talk about why he was cut. We're going to talk about what it means for Mac Jones, what it means for the Patriots, and what it means for Cam moving forward. Then we're going to talk about the cuts in general. Were there any surprising cuts? Were there any guys who probably should have been cut, shouldn't have been cut, that were cut, vice versa? Claims, who got picked up. And then finally, John has been asking for weeks if we could talk about the NFL Top 100. We are going to do that today. And we are going to tease our prediction show that are going to take place next week. Buckle up. It is going to be a wet and wild ride here today on the Are You Ready for Some Football episode, part one. Take it away, Spencer.
You play to win the game.
Touchdown! Can't wait.
All right, guys. I am psyched up for today, John. Let's go. I'm ready.
You switched up the intro. It's so funny because I was talking to Spencer yesterday, and he was like, I hear Joe in my sleep going, all right, everybody, we're here. We're back. And I was like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, is he going to switch it up today? And you did switch it up.
I listen. I'm ready to rock. We are 8 days away.
8 days.
The initial 53-man rosters have been assembled.
Completed.
Some surprising cuts.
There was a few, yeah.
There was a few cuts. But overall, I think that I'm happy. I'm happy. Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, I think, a few things happened with my team too during the week. So
we're gonna get into that first, But we got a lot of stuff coming at you, folks. I mean, it's episode number 28. God bless. Can't believe it. And if you don't know, now you know. Follow us, subscribe, rate, and review on anywhere you could get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Pandora, Google, Deezer, Stitcher, wherever you listen. Make sure you're rate, reviewing, and subscribing us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. That's what we want. You rub your back, we'll rub yours. Any way that you want us to, that's fine. John,
interesting.
Let's get it rolling, baby.
The Twitter's been popping off, by the way.
Twitter's been popping, as it should be.
At PSP Pod.
At PSP Pod. Let's rock and roll. Let's get right into it. John, we spoke months ago about how Cam Newton was not one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL. Because he made that comment. He said 32 QBs are not better than me. Well, God damn it, there are. There are. And my boy got cut. Surprising move.
Nobody expected this.
Nobody expected this. Now, because I'm going to let you get your moment in the sun, because I know how excited you are about this.
Oh, I'm ready.
It was a wide consensus that Mac Jones outplayed him in the preseason. Wide consensus. Okay? I don't think he was cut. Let me rephrase that. He was cut because he wasn't better than Mac Jones. Right? I think that's fair.
Simple.
They were not going to pay him $3.5 million to be the backup quarterback. I also don't think he would have accepted being the backup quarterback after being, like, quote unquote, publicly humiliated by having a rookie beat him out. So I think they gave him his release for both him and for the team, you know? And we're going to get into Urban Meyer's comments because there is like a running theory that he may have been cut because he's not vaccinated. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that with Urban's comments in a little while, but I want to know if you think A, it was the right move, B, how excited you are for Mac to be taking over
Mac Jones season,
the Patriots quarterback position, and C, what does it mean for the Patriots skill players on a real life level and on a fantasy level?
All right. So first of all, we've seen Cam. We saw Cam last year, Joe. I liked him, and if anybody wants to go back, I thought he was a nice little fantasy sleeper if he was the quarterback, solely because of his ability with his legs. And last year he did do pretty well in fantasy, right? If you had him as your QB1, you weren't getting 1,000,000 points, but you're getting a steady 20 every week. It's better than a lot of those guys out there, right?
He had 20 total touchdowns and 10 interceptions last year.
Yes. Listen, the book's been written on Cam. Absolutely incredible talent that came into the league. There was a period of time where he was damn near dominant, right? His days in Carolina, but those days are far, far gone, Joe. Listen, he looked a little better in camp. He looked a little better in preseason than he did last year, but we're seeing the same Cam mistakes. You know, overthrowing receivers, terrible interceptions. Like, the arm just isn't what it used to be, and I'm telling you, you cannot win with just your legs in this league as a quarterback. You can't. You have to be able to make throws. Now, when they went and they made this decision, it was clear. They drafted Mac Jones. I had him as my second-ranked quarterback. I had him as basically baby Brady, and I'm not afraid to say it because of just the skill set alone. You saw it in the preseason. He executed the offense to a T. He understood what Bill Belichick wanted to do and what Josh McDaniels wanted to do. This guy is the real deal, Joe. The real deal. Like, I'm not, and listen, if you want to go and get like feisty with this, and I was texting Joe about this the other day, and he told me to go fuck myself. If you want to take Mac Jones and make him put a rookie of the year bet on Mac Jones, throw that rookie of the year bet down. I think he was something like
he was 11-1.
11-1. Was that before he became the starter?
He's the favorite.
Oh, he's the overwhelming favorite.
He's the favorite to win the rookie of the year.
Okay, throw that bet down because honestly, I think we'll get a little deeper into it in a second. But the book's been written on Cam, man. The book's been written. You're right. I think that they did grant him his release solely off the fact of respect of, all right, listen, we're not going to make you the backup. We don't want to do that to you. Let's see if you can find work elsewhere. And there's just, you're right. There's, there's 32 quarterbacks better than him right now. And it's sad to see that era end, but at the same time, it's Mac Jones season. Now, what does it mean for fantasy going forward? That was your second.
What does it mean for the skill position players in real life, like football wise, and fantasy wise? Yes.
Well, first of all, that team's offense gets an incredible boost because now you're getting a guy who could throw the football. That was their biggest problem last year, was they could not throw the football. We're talking about Cam going like 8 for 11 for 80 yards. You're not throwing the football. These receivers were stagnant. Not to mention they didn't have anybody on that team. And we're going to get to Bill Belichick. This just fits the theme of Belichick doing something he's never done before. They didn't have any offensive skill players last year. Now they go and they load up on offensive skill players, right? You had Nelson Aguilar. You had Jonnu Smith. Jacoby Myers coming back. Julian Edelman is gone. You're getting rid of a lot of the older players. Hunter Henry. You're getting a lot of younger players, a lot of better skill players. Damian Harris, Ramad Stevenson. James White is still there. They retained him. That team's offensive prowesses get an entire boost.
Not to mention, the best part of that offense is still intact, which is their offensive line.
Of course, and they might have one of the best offensive lines in football. Now, what does that mean for fantasy? Immediate boost for those players. Jacoby Myers is a steal in the late rounds of the draft. You know that there was 7 or 8 games, I heard the stat today, 7 or 8 games when he had 7 or more targets, he had 15 plus fantasy points. Solid flex play. Damian Harris, immediate boost. Damian Harris, you draft Damian Harris. He could be an RB1. On your team, he could be an RB1. That's a bold statement, but I'm saying
that's aggressive.
Joe, that is not aggressive. Listen.
A Patriot running back as an RB1?
I'll tell you why. You want to know why?
Tell me, please.
So last year, inside the 5-yard line, inside the 5 or the 10-yard line, another stat I heard today, most of these goal line carries went to Cam. Cam carried the ball 70% of the time in the red zone. Mm-hmm. The other 20% was Damian Harris, and the rest was J.J. Taylor and Burkhead. And then James White had a few touches here and there. Burkhead's gone. Cam Newton's gone.
Okay. Mac Jones ain't running the football.
He's not running the football.
Now, how out of that 80%, right? So you're saying 20% is Harris already. 20%. So out of that 80%, how many of those carries go to Ramondre Stevenson?
I want to say he goes into that Damian Harris role of last year.
So you think it's like a 70-30 with Harris?
Yes. Okay. I think Harris is going to be fantastic. There's advanced metrics on him that he's one of the best running backs in the league after the first point of contact with a defender. Like he had some of the most yards after first attempted tackle. Like really crazy stuff. Like stuff that listen, if you want to get into it, we could go into advanced metrics. I'm not crazy about advanced metrics.
Neither am I.
But
all I'm saying is the last 1,000-yard rusher for the New England Patriots was Stephen Ridley.
I know it's been a while.
It's been a hot minute.
But who's the best friend for a rookie running back? A rookie quarterback.
I hear you. A good running game.
So listen, that team gets an immediate boost. One of the best offensive lines in football. And listen, that's Mac Jones season, man.
So that's good stuff. That's all great stuff. What do you think? Where does Cam go from here? Where does he go? Does he go to Washington because it's clear to me that there's not one place in the NFL that he could start as of right now.
Yeah, not
if you go
now.
through every single team in the NFL, right? There's actually only one team where he could maybe go in and start because he may be the best quarterback on the roster. And that's Houston.
That's the easy choice.
Only place. But even so, if he were to get signed by Houston tomorrow, he still needs to learn the playbook. He still needs to get comfortable with the offense. Tyrod Taylor is obviously the QB1 on that roster, and he would be there until Cam is ready to go. But I'm not even sure he's better than Tyrod Taylor at this point.
Dude, he can't. The big problem with Cam, the arm strength just is not there anymore.
I don't know if you were watching the Giant game the other night when they played that third preseason game there, dress rehearsal game. He threw that pick, and it was a great play by Blake Martinez, right? And then the next drive they're driving in that third down, he spikes a ball to, I forget who it was, but he spikes a ball and it was an out throw. And you could tell he just couldn't reach.
Yeah.
He just couldn't reach him.
But that's what happens in this league. Like you're saying, Washington maybe would kick the tires, but then again, Fitzpatrick's better than Cam Newton.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick's
right now.
clearly better than Cam.
And
right
I
now.
agree with you. I think Tyrod Taylor is better than Cam Newton. There's backup quarterbacks in this league that are better than Cam Newton right now. I'd rather PJ Walker over Cam Newton. Listen, Cam was an absolute specimen of a player, one of the best athletes the game has ever seen.
Right.
But I'm sorry, dude, it's done. Because Cam's not the type of guy that's going to take the ego hit of I'm going to be the backup.
Well, do you think he's just going to then the only other answer is he's just going to sit out and wait until someone gets hurt and he's going to sign that place wherever the person is hurt?
Yeah, I mean, listen, his legs still work.
His legs still work. I mean, there's in today's NFL, there's definitely somewhere for a team to sign and be like, we're going to use you in this package,
like a Taysom Hill,
literally goal line, wildcat type of deal where either And he would be a really good threat there because he could run or he could pass it.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I just don't think
I don't know if he's ready for that, though, at this point of his career.
No, I think he's
never won a Super Bowl. He's been to one. He's never won one. So maybe he goes to a team that, maybe he goes to a really good team that wants to display a package like that. Maybe he goes to I don't know. Maybe he goes to a Pittsburgh,
Kansas City.
Maybe he goes to a team like a Pittsburgh and they have a goal to go, playbook for Cam to give Roethlisberger a couple of breathers.
You know what's funny?
Why not?
Could I segue this into something else really quick?
I mean, sure. That's what we're here to do.
So, where he would make a lot of sense?
Talk to me.
He would make a lot of sense in Baltimore as a backup.
You really think so?
Because
they love, was it Hundley?
Yeah, Brett Hundley.
Not Brett Hundley. The kid that they kept over McSorley. I forget what his name is.
I think
he had a rock in preseason.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
He had 5 touchdowns in one game.
Yeah.
I think he would be great there because I feel like Baltimore was one of those teams that missed on that Gardner Minshew trade. which we should get to.
We are going to get to that.
I think that's one of those teams. So, I mean, for him to go there and be a backup for Lamar Jackson, that's not the worst thing in the world.
It's going to be interesting to see where Cam goes. I think for the record, I think New England made the right decision.
Of course.
And it's funny, like, the good franchises in the NFL always seem to just do the right thing. It's just, they always seem to do, no matter how unpopular it is, they always seem to do the right thing. Now we go from the team who's had massive success over the past 20 years, like the Patriots. Now let's go to another team that hasn't really had a lot of success over the past 20 years, and that's the Chicago Bears, where they officially named Andy Dalton their QB1 today over Justin Fields, much to the dismay of a lot of Bears fans, a lot of national pundits, a lot of media and analysts and experts, and anybody who's a genuine football fan wants to see Justin Fields behind center on Sunday night in LA against the Rams for the first time that SoFi Stadium is going to have fans in it. You'd like to see Justin Fields there, right?
Of course.
It's not going to happen. It's going to be Andy Dalton. Now, Matt Nagy told us for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks that it was going to be Andy Dalton, right? And he stuck to his guns. It's going to be Andy Dalton. I'm going to tell you this. This has a very eerily similar feeling. Let me know if you agree. To when Deshaun Watson came into the league. And the quarterback there was, I think, Tom Savage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was Tom Savage. And they were playing the Jaguars. It was 2017. I will never forget this. Okay? It was 2017, week 1. Was not looking forward to the game because I was like, they're gonna suck, whatever. And they get off to a rockin'. Tom Savage can't do anything right. Literally nothing right. The Jaguars are up by like 20 in the first half. Go to the second half, Deshaun Watson comes out. Almost brings them back. Lose,
I remember
but
this.
he almost brings them back. And then halfway through the year, he tears his ACL in practice, and you don't hear from him for the rest of the year. Right? And Texans go like 4-12, whatever the case may be. But since then, he's been one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. I think the same thing could happen on Sunday night in LA. I really, really do. I think that defense is so good that Andy Dalton could have literally a miserable time. The Bears could find themselves in a 20-point hole at halftime, and Matt Nagy could say, you know what? We just need a spark. Let's see what the kids got. There's no way he doesn't not start by week 6 or 7, I think.
Oh, he's going to play.
But I just don't know why there's this blind loyalty to Andy Dalton.
You know what's funny? We're just talking about Cam Newton and we're talking about quarterbacks where the book's been written on them. The book's been written on Andy Dalton too. Like, he's not just going to go to Chicago and holy shit, we're going to see this Andy Dalton resurgence. It's almost like it's like I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. You know what I mean? Like you go and you get Andy Dalton, not to mention Nick Foles is still on the roster.
They have 3 quarterbacks on the roster.
And you draft Justin Fields, and it's like, well, Justin Fields is clearly the best quarterback out of the 3 of them. And it was painfully obvious.
He really was.
He's an athlete, man. Like, and you're going to start Andy Dalton, it's like, well, you know what's going to happen. You already know, and I think you're right. I think what's going to happen Sunday night is that Andy Dalton's not going to be able to do shit, because when he's able to do shit in Dallas last year, and then what? Let's get a spark. Let's bring in Justin Fields. And then Justin Fields holds the job until then. It's kind of funny, though, when we're talking about Justin Fields and we're talking about fantasy. A lot of fantasy apps, like we use Sleeper. Shout out Sleeper. They project him to have like 3,300 yards and 25 touchdowns or something.
So they're expecting him to be in by like week 2 or week 3.
Yeah, there's all these apps and everything is projecting him to be in. I mean,
I think so. I think it's the play. I think maybe they're giving the job to Dalton because they told him when they signed him he was going to start. But it's like, we didn't tell you how long you were going to start for.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't know.
Listen, Andy Dalton's a great backup. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
one of the better ones.
Yeah, one of the better backups in the league. A journeyman at this point. But come on, man.
I know.
It's Justin Fields.
Let's keep the quarterback train going. Let's go. Let's keep it going to Philadelphia.
Ooh.
Okay. Where the Eagles traded with my beloved Jaguars, and they traded for Gardner Minshew, which was a little bit of a surprising move because Joe Flacco is the backup there, or was the backup. I don't even know if he is right now. And they have Jalen Hurts. It's very clear to me the Eagles do not like Jalen Hurts. Yeah. For whatever reason, they don't like Jalen Hurts. And I don't know why. I'm telling you, John, you could throw every single statistic at me in the book. Gardner Minshew is not a starting quarterback in this league. He's not.
I'm not going to argue because you saw him every Sunday.
He got beat out by C.J. Beathard for QB2 during this preseason. And you talk about painfully obvious. You talk to any Jaguars beat writer, and they will tell you that Gardner Minshew was by far the third best quarterback in camp this offseason. Not even remotely close. The dude, he's good at, I'm telling you, he does some good things well, right? He's a very good intermediate to low, intermediate to low, 5-6 yard dink and dunk passer. He is good in the pocket and can move around when he needs to. He's got some mobility. He can't throw a deep ball. He can't. He cannot throw a deep ball. So the Eagles have a scrambling quarterback in Jalen Hurts. They have really a intermediate passer at best in Gardner Minshew, who has some mobility. And then they have a deep threat in Joe Flacco, who has no mobility. So they have every single type of quarterback you can on the roster. I just don't know what the point of this move was. I don't get the point of why they took on Gardner Minshew, other than the fact that they don't like Jalen Hurts.
Well, you know what's funny is that Jalen Hurts, all the word out of camp was that he was having a fantastic camp. And I do think this tanks his value a little bit. I think in fantasy, it definitely tanked his value. I mean, last night, how late did he go in our one draft? He went like the 10th round.
Yeah, 10th or 11th round.
I mean, Philadelphia is going to be one of those teams that are going to be on the bubble going into next year where it's like, all right, you have a top 3 pick. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, Philly's going to be a bad team this year.
Philly's going to be a bad team. And I think that's just what it is.
But that's okay, though. You're allowed to be bad every now and then.
Yeah, of course. Listen, they didn't give up. They didn't mortgage the house on Gardner Minshew.
No, they gave up a 6th-round pick. It's a conditional 6th.
Yeah, so listen, I think he's worth that at least. I think good kudos on the Jaguars for turning,
They were going to cut him.
No, turning a cut into a 6th-round pick. I mean, listen, anytime you could turn in a player into a pick and flip I love that. I love that you didn't get rid of the asset for nothing.
Right.
Because this goes back to any other sport. When you want to get rid of a dead contract, you cut them, nothing. You don't get anything for them. Get something for them.
Yeah.
And they did. They got the 6th-round pick. I mean, listen, I think that Gardner Minshew could have went a bunch of other places. Like I was just talking about Baltimore. Baltimore, I think, needs a little bit of they need some backup help. I mean, granted, the backup that they have there is pretty good, but why not bring in a guy like Gardner Minshew? Because Lamar Jackson.
The Jets need a backup quarterback.
The Jets,
maybe more than any team in the NFL.
Yeah, the Jets do not have a backup quarterback either.
Mike White is their backup quarterback. I
Like,
don't even know who that is, honestly.
It wasn't it James Morgan, or did they cut him?
I think they cut Morgan.
Oh, damn, I have a James Morgan auto rookie card.
I don't know if they did.
Now it's
I don't know
useless.
If they did. But it's interesting. I know Philly's a run first offense. They're going to run with their quarterback, and they're going to run with Miles Sanders, right? They don't have any go-to wide receivers, really.
Devontae Smith,
but he's a rookie. Don't know what you're going to expect out of him. It's going to be a transitional year in Philly. I'm curious to see what kind of offense Nick Sirianni is going to run. He may be playing some rock paper scissors on the sideline. I don't know what's going on, but we may see that.
Does he know how to read the clipboard?
Probably. A couple more things I want to get to before we go into segment 2. First one, I'm going to go to Minnesota.
Let's go to Minnesota.
Just so you know, they just re-signed Everson Griffin. That just happened.
He played in the preseason game.
And then he got cut, and then they re-signed him.
That is some weird
Bizarre.
cap fuckery that I...
But I do want to hear about your thoughts about Irv Smith.
Oh, wow.
Out for the year, by the way. If anyone was wondering, Irv Smith today was told he's going to miss the whole season with a torn meniscus.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it was just a torn meniscus. I feel like the recovery on that's pretty good. The actual prognosis is good. Irv Smith was set up to be a really good player. I mean, he was one of those tight ends that he was okay at blocking, but his major skill set was receiving.
Yeah.
Coming out of Alabama, he was fantastic.
They took him in the second round a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, and he was overshadowed by Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph just up until this point, did everything better than him. I think also just because he was tenured there that he was.
Well, they let go of Rudolph because they were like, all right, it's Irv Smith's time.
Exactly. But you know what's crazy is that we go and we make a trade for Chris Herndon, who I like Chris Herndon. I'm on the Chris Herndon train. I think he's pretty fucking good.
Chris Herndon has shown flashes in a Jet uniform, but he's never been able to put it together.
No, he's been suspended. He's been injured. There's been all sorts of things with him. But the Irv Smith, it's a big loss because I think that the team will be fine, obviously. I don't think it was a significant enough loss to create a problem for us. But I think for the case of him, it's just disappointing. Whereas, like, you finally got your shot. He looked really good in the preseason. He had a really good camp. And then you tear your meniscus, and it's like, now you're out.
I know.
You know, it's sad. I mean, we did re-sign Harrison Smith, though. That's
big.
Huge. Best safety in football.
4 for 64.
Yeah. Most guaranteed money, I think.
Yeah, second most guaranteed money on a safety. Yeah. All right, last thing I want to do, we got to get to Urban Meyer's comments a little bit about what he said in his press conference post 53-man roster being announced. If you don't know, or if you're not aware, Urban Meyer said that players' vaccination status was considered when making cuts. Was not, make this clear, did not say it was the reason why somebody was cut or not. It was a part of consideration, just like everything else went into consideration. John, I'm going to ask you a question, okay?
Go ahead, Joe.
If you're a coach of a team and you're evaluating the players on your team, and you have two guys at a position, and one guy is maybe player A is not as good as player B, right? Mm-hmm. They're close, but B's a little bit better. But player A is always healthy, and he's always available. But player B is injury prone. But when he's healthy, he's really good. But you don't know when he's going to be healthy or not. He's in the lineup, he's out of the lineup, he's in the lineup, he's out of the lineup. Who are you going to go with?
I'm going with player A.
Okay. Now, what's the difference between that and Urban Meyer saying, okay, we're considering vaccination status when we're considering our 53? Because the NFL has made it abundantly clear that they want their players to be vaccinated. Abundantly clear. They have not come out and say, we want our players to be vaccinated. However, they have made it very clear through all their rules and their memos and their this and their that they want their players to be vaccinated. The difference between an unvaccinated player and a vaccinated player is enormous in the NFL right now, because if there's a player who's unvaccinated and has a close contact or test positive for COVID, they're out for at least 10 days. Bar none, no exceptions, 10 days on the shelf. You're missing a week right there.
Could miss 2.
Could miss 2. If you're vaccinated and you get COVID or you're a close contact, you could come back after 3 or 4 days. Availability is key when you're picking your roster. So explain to me why this guy's getting buried because he told the truth.
Listen, I'll tell you this. Your best ability is availability. Herm Edwards said it. It's so fucking true. It's very true. And they've been saying that all day.
So why is he getting buried?
I don't want to go down the super COVID rabbit hole.
No, we don't have to, but I think it's important because
it is important.
Say about Cam, people think Cam got cut because of the whole COVID issue.
No, Cam got cut because he's just not Cam anymore. I don't even want people to get started on that. I think people are being absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? Truthfully, I'm going to agree with you. Urban Meyer didn't say anything wrong. I mean, this is a totally different story. We're talking real life football. I'm talking fantasy football. I've taken vaccination status into account with who I draft. Listen, the NFL is not playing games this year, like you said. They made it abundantly clear. Somebody like Lamar Jackson, who is on record that he is not vaccinated, has had COVID twice now. If he gets COVID and he's out 2 weeks, well, that could change your entire season. Like, this is a big deal. Like, the way that the NFL has structured this is a big deal. They've danced around everything but saying you guys need to get vaccinated because they can't mandate it. So they're dancing around it by making all these rules. Urban Meyer didn't say anything wrong. Urban Meyer, you're talking about a team that was 1-15 last year. Joe, you know
want guys who are available.
You want guys who are available. Listen, this guy wants to win. You don't want to put your rookie quarterback in a bad position. You don't want to put your team in a bad position. You're trying to show ownership that you guys are trying to win with what you have.
Right.
You can't just, like, why are people burying the guy?
And
Listen, of course you have to look at that.
And let's also be clear, okay? If there was a player who is unvaccinated who's really good, he's not going to get cut.
Absolutely not. If Trevor Lawrence isn't, who knows if Trevor Lawrence is vaccinated or not?
Josh Allen, the linebacker who they drafted a couple of years ago, is not vaccinated. Had COVID a couple of weeks ago. So he just came off the reserve COVID list. I don't see Josh Allen being cut. Josh Allen's a starting linebacker, one of the best players on the team. So what are we talking about? So I'm convinced now. I'm fully convinced. The media, people just want this man to fail. For whatever reason, they want him to fail. There are certain guys who you just root against. And Urban Meyer, for whatever reason, has turned into one of those guys that people just want to see fail. Maybe it's because he's won everywhere he's been, and maybe they feel like he needs to be knocked down a few pegs. I will say this against Meyer, though. He's getting a real, like, on-the-fly lesson that in these college stops, he can say whatever he wants and get away with it. You can't do that in the NFL.
No. You're scrutinized on a. So
the NFLPA is investigating them. Obviously, nothing's going to happen. They may get fined, whatever, but that's going to be the extent of it. But, like, he clearly can't say anything he wants to say. But for the one time he does tell the truth about things, like, he gets slammed. It's ridiculous to me, man. It really is ridiculous. I'm so over it. Like, he said it was a factor. He clearly, all these coaches took these guys into their meetings and they gave them all the numbers and why they should get vaccinated and all this other stuff, right? And then they leave it up to them. Either you do or you don't. And that's it.
He just said what every other coach was thinking.
Absolutely.
There's always that one guy that says what everyone's thinking. So somebody
fell on the sword. It just happened to be him.
Of course. I mean, but it's been Urban Meyer all offseason. That's the problem, is he's always been falling on the sword.
Well, you know what? If they win ball games, it's not going to matter.
And listen, there's just a heavy scrutiny on them because, one, Trevor Lawrence. Two, it's like this dynamic duo that everybody just can't wait to see. So
right.
What are you going to do?
So anyway, that is what we got for segment one. I hope you enjoyed that. When we come back, we're going to talk about roster cuts. We're going to talk about claims. And we're going to talk about this anybody that was surprising that we are going to talk about. So refill your cup of coffee and come right back, because PSP is going to be right here with you.
Hey y'all, Spencer Blinn, the producer for Perfect Spiral Podcast, and you're listening to my band Hollow Choir's new song, What You Want. Available now on Spotify. What you want.
All right, guys, we're back here, and we are here for segment number 2 of PSP, episode number 28, where roster cuts were due yesterday at 4 p.m. So let's take a couple of minutes, and let's go through those roster cuts and some guys that were notable, okay? So, one, if you've been watching Hard Knocks, you would know that Ben DiNucci was cut. He was recently signed on the practice squad today by the Cowboys, but he was not on the 53-man roster. Jaquan Hardy, who is a guy who was featured on Hard Knocks, he got cut. Isaac Alacorn, who is also another guy who was featured on Hard Knocks, he got cut.
Why are all these guys getting cut from Hard Knocks?
Because they're like 4th and 5th string guys who clearly have no shot at making the team. That's why.
Yeah.
But those two guys were also added to the practice squad. Other big notables that were cut. Nick Mullins was cut from the...
kind of surprising.
Kind of surprising about that. Brashad Perryman was released by the Lions.
He got re-signed though right away.
He got signed by the Bears, so he's going to the Bears on a 1-year deal. Philip Dorsett was cut by the Jaguars and then re-signed onto their practice squad. Tyron Johnson was cut by the Los Angeles Chargers. Shocking move there. A lot of Charger fans were not happy that Tyron Johnson was cut. A lot of people thought that Tyron Johnson was better than Mike Williams last year on many different levels. Burner, sub 4.40, has good hands, was cut for whatever reason, and thankfully the Jacksonville Jaguars claimed him as one of the wide receivers that they're gonna pursue now. But there were cuts. There were roster cuts all around. Obviously, the Cam Newton one was another one. John, is there anyone in particular guy that you were focused on that you thought should have got cut or was cut that you were a little surprised about?
I mean, I think everything went kind of according to plan. I'm not going to lie. I think the Tyron Williams getting cut was a little bizarre. That was the one that made the waves today.
That was the one that made the waves today.
Nick Mullins was also surprising. I think Nick Mullins he has started quite a few games in San Francisco over the last couple of years. And he looks solid.
Travis Fulgham also for the Eagles.
Yeah, what the hell was that about?
The Eagles don't have a lot of weapons to begin with.
And then you cut one of the guys. He had
he was pretty good for him last year, no?
Yeah, 40 receptions for 500 and something yards and 4 touchdowns. And that was over the course of maybe 6 games. You started seeing him in some fantasy lineups after that.
Also, Devontae Freeman was cut by the Saints.
That's not a shock.
So, Devontae Freeman. Desmond Trufant was cut by the Chicago Bears. Peyton Barber was cut by the Washington football team.
That was a little bit of a shock. But, hey, listen, now they're rolling into the season with...
So, what does that mean for Antonio Gibson?
Antonio Gibson's value has been what it always is, but everybody just wanted to sleep on him. I mean, last night Can I talk about the fantasy draft for a second? Just because it has to do with Antonio Gibson?
Absolutely.
Last night we had our fantasy draft for my league, and I drafted 9th. I actually went running back 3 straight picks. Interesting strategy there. But my second running back taken was Antonio Gibson. I think everybody's sleeping on him. I feel like Antonio Gibson has 3 down potential. He has 3 down potential depending on the situation. J.D. McKissick is obviously going to take a lot of those passing snaps away from him. But his value is what it is. He's going to be a top 5 running back this year. He's going to top 5 to 7 running back is going to be Antonio Gibson. He's legit. They have a good offensive line. I mean, listen, Peyton Barber was solid in the little bit of time that he got. He'll land on his feet somewhere else. I could see him kind of going to Detroit, but
yeah, I mean, we'll go through a couple of cuts here. Well, before we go to the cuts, Malcolm Butler. See this news with Malcolm Butler?
Can you explain that to me? Because I couldn't find anything on it.
Apparently, basically, he was officially put on the reserve retired list today because he's been contemplating retirement involving a personal situation. Saying that stepping away from the game permanently is on the table. So the reason they put him on the reserve retire list is that basically he's allowed to kind of step away, but if and when he ever wants to come back, he just comes back to the Cardinals.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. Don't know what's going on there. Hopefully everything's okay with Malcolm Butler. Josh Rosen made the 53 for the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow, what a comeback story.
Interesting.
Haskins made the 53-man roster.
Haskins did make the 53-man roster. I think that's big for him. And then we got other guy, P.J. Walker, you mentioned in the pro earlier, made it over Will Greer, who was a 3rd-round pick.
Yes, fantastic. Good for P.J. Walker.
So he's going to be the backup for Sam Darnold. Who else?
Can't believe Ben DiNucci got cut, man. I just liked his name.
You know what it is? I think none of those Cowboy quarterbacks none of them were impressive.
No.
Gilbert, Cooper Rush, then DiNucci, but DiNucci was bad. DiNucci was poor.
It was just his name.
He was just poor, man. He was so bad. But, I'm looking here to see who else. The Lions waived Nickel Roby-Coleman, who
interesting
was a cornerback. Nickel Roby-Coleman is famous for the Rams-Saints game. NFC Championship.
Wow, he deserves that. Then.
That's that guy.
Oh, Antonio Gandy Golden got cut by the Redskins.
Yes, and then
as well.
he was re-signed to their practice squad. Equanimous St. Brown was cut by Green Bay and then re-signed to their practice squad. So Kiki QT was cut by the Texans. So there's definitely guys that are also John Brown.
He asked to be cut though.
He did, but he is our. They released Carl Joseph, who was signed, I believe, by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So there was definitely some guys who were available. But I think all in all, like John said, there was not a ton of surprises, just a few.
Yeah, just a few.
But there's going to be a lot of waiver claims made in the coming days with guys who are now on the waiver wire and on the free agent list. So not a lot there. John, I was going to go into another break, but there's no need to. Let's roll with this, baby. Take me through the NFL Top 100.
Is it happening finally?
We're ready. We're here.
We were supposed to do this like 2 weeks ago.
Well, we're doing it now.
I'm so
Take
ready.
me through it.
All right. So how do you want to do this?
I want you not to give me every name on the list.
Yeah, let's not go through every name.
Tell me some guys that you thought were in the right spot, some guys you thought were underrated, some guys who you think are overrated, and then for anybody who doesn't know, we'll announce the top 20.
Okay, so interesting number 100 on the list is your boy James Robinson.
Yeah, we got one Jaguar on the list, baby. There it is.
It's kind of impressive that he made it as an undrafted rookie. Not to mention just him I'm enamored with James Robinson. I think that his story is fantastic. I think he's actually really good.
He's my RB2, baby.
There you go. Yeah, let's go.
Honestly, though, I mean, he ran for 1,300 yards last year and missed 4 games.
Yeah, and he also was a passing threat. Like, he's actually a good player.
Beast.
So he comes in at 100. Another guy that's just like a little bit of a surprise here is Corey Davis comes in at number 91.
There's a lot of hype around Corey Davis this year.
Listen.
A ton.
Corey Davis he's the wide receiver 1 in that offense. He definitely is, and he's built a rapport already. Listen, I want to talk about Corey Davis for a second because I was talking about this with somebody yesterday. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the issues surrounding Corey Davis was how high he was drafted. He was drafted
5th overall.
Yeah, 5th overall. Came from a Division 2 AA school. Wasn't it Eastern Michigan or something? Some really correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was Eastern Michigan.
I think you may be wrong on that, but let me see. I think he went to Georgia Tech or something like that. Western Michigan.
Western Michigan.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Right. Just change the compass around. Western Michigan. He never really got his footing over there in Tennessee. I mean, when you get hurt your rookie year, it's a little hard to get footing, but he started to come around a little bit last year. Now he's going to a Jets team where he's clearly the number 1 option. He had a fantastic preseason. So there's a little bit of hype around Corey Davis. Number 90, a guy that should have been re-signed by the Cincinnati Bengals, Jesse Bates, their free safety.
Love Jesse Bates.
Fantastic player.
See, to me, he's underrated.
Very underrated.
I think he's underrated.
He plays in Cincinnati, though.
Great player.
Really good player.
Great player.
Number 89, Tristan Wirfs.
Oh.
Rookie offensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Your boy Allen Robinson comes in at number 87.
Well, you know what? I'm curious to see what Allen Robinson's going to do this year for the first time in his life, what seems like a real quarterback. A quarterback who's not past his prime or who's actually good in his prime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's been dealing with Blake Bortles and Mitchell Trubisky, who were quote unquote in their prime, but their prime wasn't very good. Then he's going to have Andy Dalton this year, who's not in his prime anymore. And, so he's just had some really crappy luck. But now he's going to get a chance to play with Justin Fields. So hopefully he really, I think people are drafting him in fantasy pretty early on the assumption that he's going to have Justin Fields there by week 3 or week 4. But you saw what he did last year with no quarterback play. Still caught 100 passes.
I mean, Andy Dalton's still better than Mitch Trubisky.
That's true.
So. Another interesting one here at 72, going down 67 spots, because it shows how many people have gone, how many spots have they gone down?
Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas.
Well, interesting about MT. Listen.
Is there a player this year that has more mystery surrounding him than Michael Thomas?
No, but let me tell you something about Michael Thomas. I'm going to defend Michael Thomas I'm going to defend Slant Boy for a minute. You don't catch 145 passes unless you're really good. I'm sorry. You don't catch 145 passes in the NFL if you're not really, really good. Okay? For Drew Brees, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in the history of this game, to trust you on a level like that, he's not a deep threat. Doesn't need to be. He knows what he's good at, and he excels at it.
You're right.
Isn't that what makes players great? Like Tom Brady. Tom Brady is not a deep threat quarterback. He's not Matthew Stafford, right? He takes his occasional shots every now and then, like every quarterback does. They got to keep the defense honest. Mm-hmm. But he's good at intermediate, dink and dunk throws, and he's a tactician on the field, right? And he excelled at that for 20 years. Belichick made sure he excelled at that. And what happened? He became the greatest football player ever in the history of the game. Maybe the greatest athlete in the history of pro sports. All because they maximized his value at what he did well. So if Michael Thomas is great at running slants and he catches 150 passes because of it, then my God, Michael Thomas, keep running slants. I would want you to run slants on my team.
Yeah.
If you're going to catch 140 balls, when he comes back from the PUP list, I guarantee you he's successful.
Oh, I came around on Michael Thomas. I was out on Michael Thomas, fantasy purposes wise. I thought that maybe he was a little bit of overdraft. Listen, I think he's going right where he should go in fantasy drafts. I think his ADP is perfect. 7th, 8th round, 6th round, the highest. You get him, sit him on your IR for 7 weeks. He comes back. He's great down the stretch for you. I think a lot of the issue is that, all right, well, who was going to be his quarterback? If Taysom Hill was his quarterback, I'm out. Jameis is his quarterback, I'm kind of back in because you know why? Jameis Winston is going to get the ball downfield. Jameis Winston, if he locks on a receiver, he locks on a receiver.
Well, he's going to use Callaway deep, and he's going to use Thomas over the middle.
Oh, of course. I mean, look what he did with Godwin and Mike Evans.
I'm with you. Godwin was used over the middle, and Evans was used down the field.
Listen, I think that Michael Thomas, if he stays in New Orleans, there's a lot of mystery surrounding him, but I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 71 on the list, a first-timer on the NFL Top 100, Baker Mayfield.
I think that's overrated. I don't know if I agree with that. I like Baker, but I don't think he's the 71st best player in the NFL. I don't.
I mean, is there a better quarterback at play action right now?
Well, I wonder how many quarterbacks were in front of him.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Going through the next bit.
Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, Dak. That's 4. Lamar, it's 5. I don't know. Is there more? It's got to be.
I mean, I'm going to go through them. And
All right, go ahead. That's fine.
I'm going through the next batch here. Chase Young.
That's deserving.
61 on the list.
That's deserving.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Can we do something? Because this is the tease of the preview pod.
Talk to me.
In regards to Chase Young.
Because go ahead.
I'm slamming him for Defensive Player of the Year.
Really?
I am slamming Chase Young for Defensive Player of the Year.
Really?
185%.
Over the reigning monarch or emperor, Aaron Donald?
Yes, I think Chase Young is going to be Defensive Player.
You think it's finally the time where Aaron Donald takes a slide over?
Of course. Listen, Chase Young is dominant, man.
I know he is. He's very good.
He was dominant last year as a rookie.
He's very good.
I mean, he's only getting better. I think that there is... I mean, listen, these were his numbers last year. 7.5 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 44 tackles, 4 forced fumbles, 4 passes defended, 3 fumble recoveries, and 1 touchdown. So
it's impressive.
It's impressive for a rookie. Going to the next batch of players. It's funny how the NFL.com has this broken down. What was I up to? 70 to 61.
61.
Okay, so we're going 60 to 51. I scroll through it and I find a guy.
Yeah, it's fine.
Tyrann Mathieu fell 19 spots to 58.
I mean...
Is it because he got torched in the Super Bowl?
I don't know. Tyrann Mathieu to me is a little overrated. He's a ball hawk. He's kind of like Marcus Peters, but the safety position.
Yeah.
For me. I don't love him. He's good. He's nice. He's a nice player. I'll take him on my team. Sure.
Coming in at number 56, Joe.
Oh.
A first-timer on this list.
First timer. So it was a rookie last year. Or not necessarily.
Justin Herbert.
He was a rookie last year. So Herbert's also ahead of Baker. Okay.
I want to get into Herbert for a second.
Like Herbert a lot.
A lot.
Was very high on him coming out as a rookie last year. Had him ahead of Tua, personally. Yes. But I think he's a slight regression candidate this year.
Of course, a little bit.
Slight. Ever so slightly. 'Cause I just think the league knows him a little bit more now. But, dude, listen.
The talent is there.
Herbert, the Chargers did everything right this offseason, right? They got Austin Eckler back to 100%, and that little beautiful bowling ball is going to be excellent this year.
I drafted him last night, and you hated me.
I did because I thought you didn't. You never. You know what? You're an asshole because you never. You never even expressed once that you were going to take him in that spot. Okay, I'm sitting here. You know, out in Moscow in the cold, picking 14th. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get Austin Eckler. No one's going to draft him. It's going to be great. Meanwhile, John Dix, and he takes him, and I'm literally sitting at home like, this effing guy. He let me think for weeks I was going to get Austin Eckler, and he just sniped him right under the rug from me. And I'm sitting here having to decide between Najee Harris and Jonathan Taylor.
Listen,
at 14.
There's no friends in fantasy football.
Clearly.
He was there. I didn't think he would be there.
Can't wait till Najee Harris absolutely goes bonkers.
He's going to go bonkers.
On your team, against your team. He's going to go nuts.
You want to trade?
You would trade Eckler for Harris right now.
Straight up right now?
You would do it.
I would do it.
No, you wouldn't.
I would do it.
You're a liar.
I'm dead serious.
Jimmy James Robinson for Austin Eckler?
No. Now you're trying to get over on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to go over on it.
Justin Herbert, man, Miami's kicking themselves in the ass right now.
Well, we'll see what Tua does this year, but yeah.
Right behind him at 55 is Keenan Allen. Deservingly so.
Amazing. To me, one of the most consistent players in the league. Completely underrated. I think he's a top 4 receiver in the NFL.
The highest rated rookie on the list at number 53.
Higher than Chase Young.
Yes. Take a guess. I'm giving you a big smile.
Oh, Justin Jefferson. I don't think he's better than Chase Young.
I don't think so either, but I mean, offensive players always get a little bit of a boost over defensive guys anyway.
For whatever reason.
George Kittle goes down 43 spots to 50.
Hey, he was hurt last year, so that makes sense.
Mike Evans goes down 18 spots to 48.
I also think he's severely overrated, but that's just me.
Mike Evans?
Yeah.
At this point in his career, I think he is a little overrated. I think he does. I think what we saw with him last year was that he does one thing really well.
Gets the ball down the field.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I think that Godwin's the wide receiver one in that offense. Stephon Gilmore down 38 spots to 47, who landed on the PUP list. He'll be out the first, 6 weeks?
Yes. He'll be back by week 7.
That's Justin Simmons, number 45, a first-timer on this list.
Underrated.
Under 185% underrated.
Denver Broncos may have a top 5 NFL defense this year.
Yeah.
Von Miller coming back. Bradley Chubb's another year older who's getting only better. Shelby Harris, who I loved in free agency, re-signed there. So
Patrick
Surtain's a rookie. They have a nice little defense over there. They can just figure out that quarterback, man. They're in good shape.
We've been saying it for months.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey goes down 38 spots to number 44. I mean, he was hurt last year. Played 3 games, so that's fair. Levante David went up 57 spots to 43.
Okay.
A little overrated?
Yeah, I think so.
I agree.
I think so.
Trent Williams at 42.
Nice. Can I ask you, where is Devin White anywhere on that list?
I haven't seen him yet.
That's unbelievable.
That's
unbelievable to me.
Bradley Chubb at number 40.
So people starting to recognize about Bradley Chubb. We just talked about the Broncos defense. Let's get to the top 20. Who's in the top 20?
Okay. Wait, Darius Leonard, by the way, up 13 spots, number 37. Deservingly so.
I like Darius Leonard. He's a good player.
All right, you want to get to the top 20?
Yeah, hit me with the top 20.
Okay. All right, so we're, from 20 on, we're gonna say everybody.
Yeah.
So number 20 is Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
Fair. 19 is Budda Baker.
Way overrated in my opinion.
78 spots.
I think that's insane.
That's very overrated.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, number 18, up 2 spots.
Fair.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Xavier Howard, number 17.
Fair
After the year he had
Very
last
fair.
year. Myles Garrett up 74 spots to number 16.
Probably the best edge rusher in football.
Yes. Tyreek Hill up 7 spots to 15.
Yep.
Alvin Kamara up 28 spots to number 14.
See, I think Dalvin Cook's better than Alvin Kamara right now.
I agree. I think
That's my
Dalvin Cook's a
personal
better
opinion.
runner of the football
That's
than
my
Alvin
opinion.
Kamara. Jalen Ramsey up 24 spots to number 13.
Pain. It's just pain.
Is he just the best corner in football?
I think so. I think pound for pound, he's the best cornerback in football. He's not afraid to play man. He's not afraid to hit you. He tackles extremely well. Yeah, he is.
Russell Wilson down 10 spots to number 12.
Nah, it's okay. I'm cool with Russ being there.
And number 11, my guy, up 43 spots.
Mac Jones. No, I'm kidding.
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs.
Finally, people are starting to realize just how good he is.
With a real quarterback.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Listen, Diggs always had incredible ability. He is one of the best route runners in football. He can do it all. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. He can run slants. He can run outs. He can run up the field. He's incredible. All right, now 10-1. Are you ready?
Yeah, hit me with some knowledge.
I haven't seen Patrick Mahomes on this list yet. I wonder where he is.
I wonder where he is.
So number 10 is Josh Allen, up 77 spots.
Absolutely.
Number 9 is TJ Watt, up
Okay.
16 spots. Fair.
Yep.
Number 8, who stayed at number 8, is DeAndre Hopkins. That's the first player I've seen that stayed at where he was.
All right. That's fine.
I think a little overrated.
I think right now Diggs is better than him. That's my opinion.
I agree. Number 7 is Tom Brady.
Should be number 1, but that's my opinion.
Yeah. Number 6 is Devontae Adams, which, can we talk about Devontae Adams was the 57th best player in football last year, according to the NFL Top 100.
Now
He's up
number 6.
51 spots.
Yeah, because he's a freak.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast. Number 5 is your boy. I don't want to trigger you by saying this guy. I'm just going to go to 4. Travis Kelce.
Oh, God.
I just brought bad memories back for Joe.
That's all right. It's all right.
Number 4, Derrick Henry.
Right, of course. 3, Rodgers. Or 2, Rodgers.
3 is Rodgers.
3 is Rodgers. 2's got to be Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
And then 1 is Mahomes.
Yep.
Fair list, according to me. Fair list.
It's funny how Mahomes won the Super Bowl and he was number 4 quarterback last year, and he loses the Super Bowl and he's number 1 this year.
I don't know. The players make this list. I think it's a popularity contest personally, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, before we let you get out of here, guys, we're going to give you a little tease into next week. Next week, we are going to do the following. We are going to give you full predictions on the NFL season. We're going to go division by division. We're going to go playoffs. We're going to go through our playoffs. We're going to pick our Super Bowl, and we're going to pick our Super Bowl winner. We're going to pick our yearly awards, Coach of the Year, MVP, Rookie of the Year, Offensive, Defensive Player of the Year, the whole thing. We're going to give you everything. And then we're going to do 2 segments, running segments for every week here on out until the Super Bowl. We're going to give you the FFA segment. That's right. Every week, John will be in charge of giving you sleepers and good plays and bust plays every single week for fantasy football. And then John and I, like every other radio show, like every other podcast does probably, we will be doing our picks segment. We will be taking 5 games a week. John and I will come up with the 5 games we're going to pick. Okay? They do not have to be the same game. So I'm going to pick 5 games. John's going to pick 5 games, and we're going to bet. Now, I'm going to ask John this question live on the air.
Go.
Do you want to do straight win-lose, or do you want to do it according to the spread?
I think we should do according to the spread.
So you want to do according to the spread.
Well, you know what's funny? I was thinking something. I want to do according to the spread with us. But I was thinking something a little funny for the TikTok.
Okay, talk to me.
So I think I mentioned this a while ago. I wanted to do I don't know. I've probably never mentioned her on this pod, but my dog is the greatest dog in the history of dogs. I wanted to make my dog do like a pick. And like we go against Maddie's picks. Like it's like a little fun little game.
Oh,
on
I'm with
TikTok.
that all day.
So like if like I have a treat in one hand and in the other, whatever hand she picks, like say it's like Falcons versus Ravens.
Right.
If she picks the Falcons, then it's Maddie's pick, and then if we pick the Ravens, we keep track of like how many picks Maddie got right, sniffing the treat.
Okay,
whatever.
I'm with it.
It's kind of silly.
I'm all about it.
But yeah, we should go according to the spread. I'd love to go according to the spreads.
We'll go according to the spreads, and then every week we will recap our game of the week. We will recap. So the following week, when we go into the episode, we will recap our game of the week, and then we'll just do a recurring thing every week. It'll be fun. It'll be good. We'll give you top stories. We cannot wait for this season to start. Ronaldo League Draft is tomorrow.
Yes.
So we are very excited about that.
Keep an eye on the Twitter. I'll be posting some pics.
If you're a Ronaldo League listener, get ready to get absolutely destroyed by me. Not John, because he doesn't have any picks in this draft. But otherwise, John, anything before we let everybody go?
No, I'm good, man. I can't wait for next week when we get our predictions on.
Yes, sir.
Wait, you want to leave everybody with one little prediction?
Sure. Give me one team that you may have that didn't make the playoffs last year that is going to make the playoffs this year.
Ooh.
If you have any. I feel like I know you have one.
This is tough. Wow, you put me on the spot real quick.
I did.
I got to look at the playoffs teams from just to remember. I don't remember who exactly was a playoff team last year.
NFC was...
Well, okay, all right. I'll say an AFC one then.
Okay, tell me.
New England.
New England.
Yeah.
You think they're going to make the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they are the second best team in their division now. We'll get into that next week.
All right. Well, there you go. There's your little tease for you Patriot fans. But for John McCarthy, my name is Joe Miglio. Thank you for listening to part 1 of Are You Ready for the Football? Part 2 coming next week. Peace.